The Gospel of the Holy 12, Lection 29. The feeding of the 5,000 with 6 loaves and 7 clusters of grapes. Healing of the sick. And the feast of the Passover drew nigh. And the apostles and their fellows gathered themselves together unto Jesus, and told him all things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said unto them, Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. And they departed into the desert place by ship privately. And the people saw them departing, and many knew him, and ran afoot thither out of all cities, and outwent them, and came together unto him. And Jesus, when he came forth, saw much people, and was moved with compassion towards them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And the day was far spent, and his disciples came unto him and said, This is a desert place, and now the time is far past. Send them away, that they may go into the country round about, into the villages, and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. And he answered and said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they say unto him, Shall we go and buy 200 pennyworth of bread, and give them to eat? And he saith unto them, How many loaves have ye? Go and see. And when they knew, they said, 6 loaves and 7 clusters of grapes. And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies of 50 upon the grass. And they sat down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s. And when he had taken the 6 loaves and the 7 clusters of grapes, he looked up to heaven, and blessed and brake the loaves, and the grapes also, and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And they divided them among them all. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments that were left. And they that did eat of the loaves and of the fruit were about 5,000 men, women, and children. And he taught them many things. And when the people had seen and heard, they were filled with gladness and said, Truly, this is that prophet that should come into the world. And when he perceived that they would take him by force to make him a king, he straightway constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go to the other side before him unto Bethsaida, while he sent away the people. And when he had sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray. And when even was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. The third watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, Is it a spirit? But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? For did I not call thee? And he went up unto them in the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered. For they considered not the miracle of the loaves and the fruit, for their heart was hardened. And when they were come into the ship, there was a great calm. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, thou art a Son of God. And when they had passed over, they came unto the land of the Gennesaret, and drew to the shore. And when they were come out of the ship, straightway they knew him, and ran through the whole region round about, and began to carry about the beds, those that were sick, where they heard he was. And whithersoever he entered, into villages, or cities, or country, they laid the sick in the streets, and besought him that they might touch, if it were but the border of his garment. And as many as touched him were made whole. After these things, Jesus came with his disciples into Judea, and there he tarried, and baptized many who came unto him and received his doctrine.